In today's video, I'm going to be ranking all the Pokemon Vstar now that they're all out and just seeing how good they are on this tier list from very good to really not very good. I was going to make the bottom tier really bad, but surprisingly none of them are awful, which is kind of cool. Clearly Pokemon want to make them good. Oh, and also if you want to see more of this style of content, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. It means a lot to me, and I'd really appreciate it if you did that. But let's hop right into it, and I think they're ordered by alphabetically by the set symbol. I didn't actually make this tier list. Well, they wouldn't have made it in the same way. But starting, well, I didn't make the template, I should say. Obviously, I'm making the tier list. But Hisuian, Lilligant, V-Star. I don't know. I'm trying to look at the other ones to see how this compares. I'll put it technically viable. No, I'll put in all right. It's pretty underwhelming. If people thought it was going to be good, I thought it was going to be pretty solid, I guess. But it's not that good. It's grass type. Grass type's pretty underwhelming and awkward to power up. Palkia, solid. I don't think it's very good, I guess. I think it's had some issues with like just being in bad meta situations, been targeted by certain stuff, and also sometimes it just lacks a good price trade. But overall, it's a very good Pokemon, very solid. Student Typhlosion V-Star, technically viable, I suppose. It actually I'm going to change solid to strong to make it a bit clearer. They're solid in that they're very solid presences in the meta. Technically viable, so Hisuian Typhlosion V-Star. It's fine. It has some power with stuff. Various psychic Pokemon that are very strong, but it's pretty much only carried by them. It in itself is a solid Pokemon, but not good enough to be like in a strong category. Student Sujua V-Star, certainly strong here. Its ability to hit pretty high damage output, hit a good weakness, a very solid V-Star power. Overall, just a very nice Pokemon that I think has a lot of versatility. It also has power and is very useful. And it won the World Championship, so that's always a good sign for it. Direct V-Star, is it strong or technically viable? I'll put in top of technically viable. It's a very solid Pokemon, but it can struggle to hit good damage in the early game. You're always attacking with a multi-prizer. It's kind of like the Gardevoir EX deck, except it's like gives up more prizes. That's, I think, the best way to describe it. Similar style of ramp deck, but I don't think it has the pieces that it needs right now. Hisuian Samurai V-Star. I'm going to put this one in bottom of technically viable. I think it's a solid Pokemon, but with the loss of Glaring Zigzagoon, I'm going to have to drop it down to all right. Needs certain things to be able to hit good damage outputs. Its ability's nice, but I don't know. I think it's come up a bit short and never really had a strong spot in the meta. Moving on to Origin Form Dialga V-Star. This one's also in strong tier. It's not as powerful as Palkia. Not as easy to use as Palkia, I should say. It's always been a very high roll deck, but it's also a very strong one. So I think strong tier is like definitely where it belongs. It's been like a good meta presence, but it's never been amazing. Actually right now it's pretty good. But now we have Shaman V-Star. This will be bottom of technically viable, I guess. It has a very powerful attack. And I'll put an all right. Its attack can be very powerful, but its low HP and bad ability make it kind of underwhelming. So I think it hasn't seen too much play and isn't super strong. Honestly, it's probably below Samurott as well. Charizard, I'll say technically viable. For a while, most of the time it was in the format so far that we've seen has had a really bad typing. But I think Fire's getting better. Charizard V-Star is certainly a solid Pokemon that is able to hit decent damage output. It's also seen success with Arceus. So I think it's definitely like a viable Pokemon. It's just been in a bad spot in the meta. Whimsicott is a strong Pokemon. It saw some competitive success with its ability to counter and its special energy next, and also counters, I think, tools or state. I don't know. I think it's tools. It's also viable with energy acceleration options such as Gardevoir or Shadow Rider. And overall, I'd say Whimsicott's a very strong Pokemon with a lot of potential. It doesn't always. It's a bit niche, a bit countery, but it's a very strong Pokemon. Arceus is definitely in a very good category. It's just like so powerful, versatile, and like really adaptable to any situation. It shouldn't be getting one-shotted very often. and it does solid damage output, able to trade pretty much evenly with any attacker in the whole game, if not positively, probably not positively, sometimes negatively against very certain situations. Then you can put in other attacks in your deck, and you can power them up using Arceus. So Arceus' power with its V-Star power, which is very useful in that one turn of the game. It's probably the best V-Star power in the game. Maybe Dialga's is better. Maybe Aerodactyl's is better. I'm trying to look at other ones. Oh, and maybe Lugia's is probably better. But pretty much Arceus is very much close to like it's I think it's the best V-Star we've seen. It's pretty much always going to be good, I imagine. Of course, it's only good when there are Vs around, but you can power up other V-Stars, other basic Vs, and they're all very solid. There are certainly many very solid options. Arceus has single-handedly made some absolutely atrocious Pokemon very strong, including Aggron VMAX, Gyarados VMAX, Charizard VMAX, which were just considered awful because they have these awful unpayable attack costs, and Arceus just feeds them up right away. It's super good. It's like one of the best Pokemon we've ever seen, I have to say. Semi-Sierra V-Star, Ember Power, if you're watching this, sorry, you know where this is going. It's bad. It's not a good Pokemon. Its first attack's just not good. Its second, like its V-Star power is moderately okay, but it's low HP, it's bad typing, and its awkwardness to power up means it's just one of the worst V-Stars, if not the worst V-Star we've ever seen, unfortunately. Rotom V-Star is probably, I'd say it's let's say it's like an alright tier. There's the idea that Rotom V is pretty solid, but Rotom V-Star isn't necessarily much better. Rotom V plays lots of tools, so you'll have access to V-Star powers in the forms of the tools, which I don't have on this list because they're not Pokemon V-Star, but yeah, so it doesn't necessarily need that. Also, it actually will do less damage if you have Reggie. Like, VMAX is on the bench, so I think Rotom V-Star just isn't very good. Low HP, clunks up in a very clunky deck, so it's not awful, though. I think it's like a solid attack. It deserves some playing and messing around with, but it's not great. Zeraora V-Star, I also think Zeraora V-Star is pretty bad. I've heard some people talking about it, actually, some of my friends, but, yeah, no, it's not the best. It's just attacks are very awkward to use. It wasn't a spot where it actually wasn't very good typing, but now that's actually faded away some into probably bad typing because lightning type is now being hit for a weakness. Because people want to do that. So I definitely think Zeraora V-Star lacked a lot. As V-Star power does like a moderately good amount of damage, but there are other ones I'd rather have for spread, including Whimsicott, Superior. No, Superior I don't think spread. But Whimsicott, maybe Deoxys. I don't even remember how these like V-Star powers work. They're like they kind of blend together, but like I don't think Zero is very good. I think its typing is holding it back as well. Yeah. Zacian V-Star. I don't know what to think about this one. It involves some very good basic, obviously. But like, is it good? It's okay. I'll put in technically viable. Honestly, top of technically viable. People have been playing it, seeing no. Now that Metal Saucer's rotated, it's like it dropped down to here. It's pretty impossible to play without Metal Saucer. I think it has it's a Pokemon with potential, but it's kind of awkward. And with the rotation, it's losing most of its important cards as well. Zamazenta V-Star is actually better though. I'll put it top of technically viable. I actually really like this Pokemon. I think its V-Star power is very strong. I think the Zamazenta V is definitely very strong. I think this is a Pokemon that you can consider putting in various decks, especially with Magnezone making it rise. I think Zamazenta V-Star is a moderately logical partner to pair it with. I think it's a bit better than Zacian V-Star here. Regigigas V-Star now. This one's kind of mediocre. I think its V-Star power is theoretically very strong, but also very awkward to use. But I honestly think it's strong now. I'll put it on top of technically viable. I think, I think this with Slowbro is very strong. I honestly think that this is good enough to just kind of, I think it's good enough to like win you games. Its V-Star power is incredibly good if you're able to use it right. Yeah, it's just very good. That being said, it's still awkward, clunky. So, yeah, it's very awkward to use, but I think it has a high skill ceiling. Honestly, that's why I described it as. Magnezone V-Star. This has been seeing a bit more play, but I gotta put in all right. I think it like literally won a major tournament, but I'm still putting in all right. And I'm dropping Zacian too. Yeah, it's okay. I'll switch this up here. It has some like solid attacks and solid versatility. It's just a very like good, interesting Pokemon. That being said, is it like super cool? Um, no, right? It's just kind of whatever. Like it's nice. It used to be very good typing, but now it's not. As I said, lightning type's not as good now. It's just the best lightning type V-Star. But I think in terms of when you're looking at good lightning types, you look at Flying Pikachu VMAX, winner of the World Championship. Magnezone V-Star fits an okay role, but its V-Star power is moderately underwhelming, and so is its attack, especially when there's a lot of Judge in the format. Although I think that's reducing some, so we'll see. We also see, also with the change of the tool rule, that's a bit worse. Aerodactyl V-Star is certainly in the strong tier. I'll put it, I'll say above. Put it right next to Decidueye. I'm going to put it above Decidueye. I think it's like better than Decidueye. I'm going to drop Decidueye down here. Aerodactyl V-Star hits very hard. It has moderate synergy with the Lost Zone engine, and very importantly, its V-Star power is just insane. It was used to shut down Lugia, but I think it's still a very powerful Pokemon. Its V-Star power can win games. Its weakness is its typing is better than Decidueye. Honestly, I think it's just a better version of Hisuian Decidueye V-Star. Its V-Star power does not draw cards, and I think it does less HP, but overall, I just prefer it almost any day over Decidueye. Although it does mill cards from your own deck, it's so strong and so scary for every deck to deal with. Drapion V-Star evolving from one of the best Vs in the game right now. In this build, it's a one-shot Mew, but that's not really what we're judging this on. Its attack's pretty much useless. Pretty much the only reason you use this is for attack if you don't have a V-Star power. But I think with the stones, it's like pretty bad now. I'm gonna put in. I put in really not good. Yeah, I'm gonna put in really not good. It's like there's no reason to play this card unless you're playing Drapion V, which is just kind of silly because like. If a Pokemon doesn't stand in its own right, I think that's just not good. Giratina, wow. Where do I put this one? It's a strong. Is it top of strong? I think so. I think it's the second best V-Star in the game right now. Maybe third. I don't know. It's pretty good, though. It's very strong. Its ability to just like one-shot anything's insane. It does that relatively efficiently as well. Also, having no weakness is very nice. It's a bit awkward to power up, but it's not that awkward. People are using it with Arceus, though, and with Lost Zone, and those are some of the best decks in the game right now, so I have to put in strong. It's been pretty amazing since it came out. Gudra, it'll be not there. It'll be here. I'm going to drop Whimsicott down, and honestly, Decidueye as well. Decidueye like 1, but it's not actually the strongest we've seen. Hisuian Gudra V-Star is very nice with this ability to reduce damage that it takes. It's just very scary, and most decks can't deal with it very well, especially now that the damage output of most decks is actually reduced. Hisuian Gudra V-Star is very powerful. Other decks are very vulnerable to Gudra. So it's one of the best V-Stars in the game because of its damage outputs are very solid. We still have stuff like Defiant Span and Choice Spell to be able to hit better numbers as well if you need to do that. And it fits in pretty nicely in Arceus decks or in Lost Zone decks. Kind of like Giratina, it lacks that one-shotting potential, and its V-Star power is worse as well, but it's still very good. Zoroark V-Star, I think it's got to be the technically viable tier. Okay, Typhlosion needs to like move down. Zoroark V-Star, soon Zoroark V-Star belongs right here. It's like a very solid Pokemon, hits very high damage, it's very nice. Honestly, it's very good, but then it's kind of inconsistent as well. But overall, it's strong. Also, it's pretty vulnerable to Lost Zone, so that kind of hurts it a bunch now, but it's still very good. Mewtwo V-Star, I'll put it right above Zoroark. It has nice synergies in the current standard format, and Psychic type's been amazing since it came out. So I got to say that Psychic, being such a good type, gives Mewtwo V-Star so many options, and I think it's just very good. A Dragonite V-Star is let me see. This one's bad, right? This one's just gotta go here. I missed. It goes here. It doesn't really have much value. It's like, in my opinion, other than maybe Drapion, it's the only V-Star that you evolve into it, and it gets worse. Its V-Star power theoretically has some value, but it's still not great. Its regular attack isn't great. I haven't seen anyone play this. I have seen people play it, and I don't think it's very good. Superior V-Star. I'll put it on top of all right. I want to say technically viable, but I don't think I can bring myself to do that. Also, Charizard, you can bump down your Charizard, but you don't get that much privilege. So Superior here is, I don't know, it's okay. Its Grass type has just been bad. But I think it's viable. It has some interesting ideas, interesting combos as well with Cheryl and Healing and Altaria. And a few treats nice. Its Vista power is fine. It's not an amazing Pokemon, but I think it's viable. I guess it's not really viable, but it's almost technically viable. Alolan Vulpix V-Star is very solid. It's one that I was a really big fan of. I'm gonna put it at top of. No, oh sorry for all the noise. If you can hear that, I don't know if you can hear that. It'll probably be like here. It's actually seeing a lot of play right now. It starts to play when it came out. It's a very solid Pokemon because of its ability to wall Pokemon, the ability to hit through effects, and with a free Vstar power. I have not messed around with this in quite a while, but it's super fun, super powerful. It's a very scary Pokemon. So, yeah, honestly, it's probably one of the better V-Stars. It's low HP, it really hurts it, but if you want like a tech V-Star, it's one of the better ones. You can have this. You have stuff like Scott V-Star is very good tech options. There's Aerodactyl V-Star, and then you also have like Fighting Pikachu V-Max, and these are like the great techs of the game. Alolan Vulpix V-Star is like one of the weaker techs, but I think it's still very good. The issue is it's like very vulnerable, but it's a very strong Pokemon as well. Depends what you're against though. Unknown V-Star is like pretty trash. Yeah, it's honestly like the worst V-Star we've ever seen. Neither of its attacks are very much worthwhile. I wouldn't recommend you play this at all. It's just not good. I think it like does damage on coin flip. I don't even remember what its V-Star power does. Is it the one where you like win the game? I don't know, but it's not great. It's very gimmicky. Mawile V-Star. What I put in technically viable. I honestly think it's okay, but I'll put in all right. I think it's just shown itself not to be strong enough right now. It's certainly okay, but it's just awkward to use, and its damage output's too low. Its stats are just a bit underwhelming. Its V-Star power hasn't been shown off enough yet, and I don't think it's just good enough. Let's see, Regidraco V-Star. How good is this one? I don't know. It's pretty good. Yeah, I think some people like this a lot. I'm gonna put it. I'll put it like here. I'll put it actually. Oh, no, I'm gonna put it on top of technically viable. Right now, it's one of the better V-Stars in the game. I think. It's a bit awkward. It allows you to harness the power of both Mr. Gudra V-Star and Giratina V-Star. That's pretty much this whole thing. Theoretically, and previously, you could use like Appleton and Flapple. I mean, you can still use them, but they're weaker, especially Appleton. So I'm gonna give it technically viable. It's kind of good, but it's awkward to use. It's a bigger commitment for a slightly better usage, but it's awkward. You can't really play it in Lost Box either, and Lost Box is so good right now. You can play it with Arceus, though. Arceus Regidraco is pretty solid. Lugia V-Star, I'm sure some people would want me to put it up here. It's not up here. It was good with Aurora Energy. It was good for one set. I mean, it's still good. It's like here, though. Honestly, I'm going to put it at the... I'll put it here. In my opinion, it's like good, but without Aurora Energy and insane combo potential, it's just not as good. In the next set, we are going to see like a pseudo reprint of Aurora, but it's nowhere near as good. So there's some kind of fun ideas you can do with it right now, but really it's awkward to set up, and it's a bit of an inconsistent deck with a lot of vulnerabilities, so I think it's just not good enough. And we see a deck like Aerodactyl V-Star, a very strong counter to it. Lightning deck's a strong counter to it, so we'll give it good for one set, but it is unfortunately, or fortunately, fallen off. Leafeon V-Star, one I'm a big fan of. I'll put it on the bottom, technically viable. No, I gotta put it on top of all right. It's a Pokemon with a very good V-Star power. It's the first V-Star we've seen, other than Glaceon, which we saw at the same time. These are all promos, I think. And it's okay. You could have played it with Rillaboom, and like reduced damage. And it's kind of cool, but it's also kind of awkward to power up. And yeah, stop playing the Beefeon deck. The Beefeon deck was super fun, but it's kind of fallen off now. Glaceon, I don't even like remember. Oh, it's V-Star makes it like immune. It's pretty underwhelming, to be honest. It's an alright tier, but it's probably it's probably somewhere around here. Its attack, it does solid damage, but it's not like It's pretty generic, to be honest. There's so many good water Pokemon, it just kind of falls to the wayside. Lucario Vstar. Oh, I don't really remember what this one does either. Oh no, this one like does more damage to I think V's. It's just okay. I'll put it in bottom of technically viable. I think it's like an okay Pokemon, but I think it struggles. Oh, sorry for that. No, I'll put it in like alright. Honestly, I'll put it like here. I should charge to be moved up. The more I'm looking, nah, I think this is fine. I think that it has power, but it's just kind of awkward to use, unfortunately. Cleavor, honestly, I think Cleavor is like viable, technically viable. It's just like okay. It's nothing amazing, but it's just a very solid tempo Pokemon. I think it's worth playing. I think was this the one people played with Zoroark? I think it was. I think people played it with Zoroark, and it was okay, surprisingly. And then Deoxys V-Star was fine. It's probably like an alright tier. I'm not a big fan of it. It's not awful though. I'll put it like here. I think it's like an okay Pokemon. I'm trying to look. I think I need to move some stuff up. This should probably be moved like here. It has some solid power. This should probably be moved. No, I won't move it up. People like Sashin. I don't know. I think this tier list is in a pretty good spot. But I'm interested in hearing your thoughts. Obviously, you heard all mine, hopefully. Or maybe not. Maybe you're just playing in the background. I don't know. But I hope you enjoyed watching the video, right? And tell me if you want to see any other tier lists. I have one on this and the single prizers. I might want to make one of my random battles format. I don't know. I hope you enjoyed it. As always, I'm excited to see you in the next video. Oh, and make sure you like and subscribe if you enjoyed. It really helps me a lot. See ya.